If you know the story of Peter, once the Holy Spirit, affected the upper room, he went out and preached to 3,000 people and converted them over right quickly. And as they moved on in the ministry, the 12 disciples, what they basically did is they shared their testimony. And so from time to time, we want to do this here in the courtyard, is have someone share their testimony, and then I'll have a little message afterward. We'll keep within our time frames. But Sade, why don't you come up? She's on today as our testimonial. No pressure, love the shoes.
Thank you so much, Pastor Joe. Hello, everyone. So by now, you probably learned that my name is Sade. They said it a few times this morning. Cindy and Joe asked me to share how God has worked in my life. And I would say in so many ways, but I'm going to talk about one in particular that I would say is kind of recent, but more or less like a few years ago. And I hope that this really can resonate with everyone, but hopefully especially like young folks if they're watching on like YouTube or TikTok or anything. So to start off, like I grew up Christian. So when I was in elementary school, my sisters and I actually asked our mom, like, can we go to church? And she was like, okay. So she took us, and then we liked it and we kept going. And we went to we did all the camps. We did like summer church camp, winter church camp, sang in choir, like all that stuff. So like always pretty much involved. So never like really a sheep straying far in the pasture, I would say. But I do think that the devil will find his way however he can to you, right? It doesn't matter if he thinks you're going to do something really extreme. He will find a way to get close to you. So like, as I got older, like in life, I feel that like, there's a lot of pressure, especially for women, like, oh my gosh, like, when are you getting married? When are you going to do this? When are you going to do that? And I was like alone for so long that I was just like, oh my gosh, like, why am I alone for so long? So I would like try to ask God about it. But as I grew up, I also felt like I never really knew how to ask God for like what I wanted or like how to pray. And I think this also goes back to a little bit of what Joe preached a few weeks ago about like, why is prayer so hard? And I feel like I just never knew how to ask. I thought it needed to be in some special way that you need to like ask God for what you want. And I think I was like, oh God, I want a like suitable partner, this, that, but it like never happened. And maybe it's because I was too focused on thinking about how I should ask. Does it need to be formal? Does it need to be all of these like different ways? And through that, I will say, I will get into another part. So it'll all make sense in just a moment. Stick with me here. So a few years ago, I remember hearing about vision boards. You can make a vision board to kind of set out what you want for your future. And heard about it from a YouTuber. So I thought, okay, that's cool. I'll like make one. You put pictures of what you want on your vision board and you put it on your wall to remind you what you're looking for. So obviously it's like, well, I want to be more healthy. I had some Bible scriptures on there. I had like a picture of Michelle and Barack Obama because I think they're like the cutest couple ever. And just like all of that kind of stuff of what I wanted. Now, the thing about YouTube is the algorithm, once you watch one thing, it thinks, well, you dipped your toe in one thing. Maybe I can show you more of like something along that line. Now, I took a vision board as like, oh, just gonna put out my goals. But for YouTube and their algorithm, they're like, you know what, maybe you might want to hear about this little thing about law of attraction. And I feel like a lot of young people have heard a lot about law of attraction. Isn't this what Cindy and Joe call the devil? Trying to shut me up. I'm like, no. Not yet. I'm not done yet. So there's this thing called law of attraction. And by definition, it's positive or negative thoughts bring positive or negative experiences into a person's life, right? And we always hear, ever since we're young, that everything comes through energy, right? We're all energy. Everything on this earth is energy. Yeah, God made it, so he knows what he was doing, right? But in this like law of attraction, I noticed that they would say, yeah, you put good vibes out, you'll get good vibes back. So it's like, that's not bad. But then the more I looked into it, they would say, oh yeah, you put it into the universe. I'm sure you've heard people say, I'm going to put this into the universe and it'll come back. And I thought to myself, well, maybe I can do this. Like, that's not bad because like God made the universe. So like, yeah. But the thing is, I started to notice these people would use the word universe with a capital U. And I was like, why is universe capitalized? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, it's not all-knowing. Why are people putting their like hopes and dreams into this universe with a capital U? That's like asking the creation instead of the creator. And I was like, it just isn't making sense to me. So I've noticed that this is all part of something called New Age, like a New Age thought or New Age religion, what a lot of younger people are looking into. And I just remember thinking, like, whenever I would like try this thing, it felt weird. And I was like, God, even though I'm saying like, oh yeah, well, universe, God made the universe, so I'll just talk to God as like the universe, that's fine. And I would ask him for what I want. I want this suitable partner. I was like, no, this actually does not feel right. It felt very off to me. And I think that's because you can't make religion what you want. You can't like just take pieces and try to like, mold it into how it's going to work for you in your life. And I just felt like these New Age thinkers with this whole sense of talking to the universe instead of God by trying to replace God with this universe thing, were only doing like half of Philippians 4:13. They were like, I can do all things, and just would like stop there. Instead of like, I can do all things through Christ, it was like, I can do all things. And they would just leave it there. And I thought to myself, well, if it's not through Christ, who are you doing it through? And I swear, it's every time I'm getting close to like what I'm supposed to say, it's trying to show me up. So, so the more I looked into this like law of attraction and manifestation in this New Age, which means in the Bible, it's to appear. Yes, God to appear. But these New Age thinkers would phrase it as more or less, you can make it appear. I can make it appear. I'm not God, and I'm not all powerful. So I just remember one day thinking how off this was, and I don't really like it, and I don't think I should put any trust in it. And I opened YouTube, and God knew, there were 2 videos on there from Christian women that I follow. And I like to watch their videos because they're very uplifting and inspiring. And they talk about how to be like a Proverbs 31 woman. And 2 of them popped up, and both talked about their run-ins with this New Age thought process and with law of attraction. And one of the videos, the YouTuber talked about how when she tried it, it worked for her. And she's like, of course it did. So she did a little research and found that this New Age sort of thought was created by a woman named Helena Blavatsky. And the thing about this woman is she wrote a book, and she created this own religion called Theosophy. And in this book, she has a whole chapter dedicated to Satan. I know. I was like, literally, oh, hell no. So I was like, let me look deeper into this. And this woman believed that when the serpent convinced Eve to bite the apple, that snake liberated mankind. And I was like, oh, no. I don't, like, this is so wrong. And the reason I'm talking about it today is because I feel like so many young people are talking about like putting their hopes and thoughts into this universe, and it seems like something lighthearted and something that's fun, but behind it, it's actually something that's coming directly from the devil. Like, this woman created this thought process, and she said that voices told her to write this. Voices. What other voices could that be? So that's why I really wanted to share that, because I felt like it's a guise, really, to like lure people into something else that they believe, because we all know Satan is a shapeshifter, right? So he's trying to shift their beliefs and make them think that they can create their own religion, that they are their own God. There's no other, they have full power, but they really don't, because it's under the guise of literally the devil. So when I realized that, I literally was like, I went through all of my YouTube settings and was like, block, don't recommend, clear it out any way possible. If I thought anybody who had a platform or sort of thing that would suggest this sort of universe, new age thought, I blocked it and got rid of it, because I didn't want that to come into my life. Because as I mentioned before with algorithms, if they think you like it or you watched it, they're going to show you more. And that's a problem with the internet. So that's why I really wanted to put that out there for especially the younger generation to know that that is what is really behind what you think you're doing. So I blocked all that stuff, and then I just prayed, and I didn't take a moment to think how do I need to pray? Oh my gosh, do I need to be oh my, dear Lord Father? I was just no. I was just prayed to God right there. Whatever came out of my mouth is how it came out of my mouth. And then the way I'm speaking to you guys now is how I speak to God. Just, he made me, so this is who I am. He already knows how I speak, so why am I so worried about how I need to speak to him and be formal? He knows you better than you know yourself. He knows all the hairs on your head. So, it's fine to speak to him however you need to speak to him. So I just was God, please just take all of this out of my life and nowhere near me. And just so I know, just to help guide me to be able to talk to you however I'm supposed to talk to you, and to help me find, the people that I want in my life, and to be able to build the future that I am praying for. So with that, I started to focus more on building the person I wanted to be. So, and I looked for that in the Bible. So I wanted to be a Proverbs 31 woman. So I said, I'm going to put more of my time into looking into how to do that. And instead of worrying about how am I going to find a suitable partner, just do whatever I felt like God wanted me to do in my heart and was taking me in my heart. So I let go and let God, as Cindy just talked about last week. And literally through that, as I focused more time on that, someone did show up, that guy over there. Richard, but I really bring that up too, because he came out of nowhere. And it was literally when I was just focusing on where I thought God wanted me to be and what I should be doing for myself, and to make myself happy. I happened to take a performance class, and he was in it, and I already knew him for 9 months before he called me and asked me if I wanted to go on a date with him. But the reason I really include that is because I know that a lot of young people out there are worried about things like that. You're worried about when you're going to get married, who you're going to date. I want this job, I want more money, I want this car, blah, 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 all these things that you want. And these things, they can come at the right time when you're supposed to have them, if it's in God's will. So you just need to remember to really just let it go. And when you do, you let it go, you let God, you are so filled with his love and his spirit that you're not looking for any of that. You're so much happier just where you are. And then that's when, everything just turns around. So that's my testimony. Thanks, guys.